the first 2 minutes in this question. The topic is vouchers. Proponents of the General Assembly of school voucher bills have vowed that the legislation to provide vouchers to low-income students to pay for private school education will be brought again in the next session. Where do you stand on the public funding of vouchers for school choice?
You know, in my years on education, I just need to tell you that we have worked really, really hard to make sure to provide great education opportunities for all of our kids. I am pro-choice in education. I believe that you should never ask a child to stay in a school that's failing to meet their needs and their educational needs while they wait for it to turn around. So I absolutely support school choice for parents and for others in the community. I think that there is a huge difference and many, many choices between going to public school aid and having a voucher. My perspective has always been at the local level and at Knox County Schools. We are incredibly blessed in this 14th district. We have schools like Farragut Primary, Farragut Intermediate, Farragut Middle and Farragut High School, Bearden High School, West Valley Middle, A.L. Locks, Bluegrass, Rocky Hill. All are doing exceptionally well on a state and national level. So those vouchers don't even apply to the students in that. And my perspective has always been other choices that we can offer. We can take a child who's in a school that's in the lower 5%, offer them a transfer to a better performing school within the Knox County Public Schools, provide them with the transportation to get there, provide them with the meal assistance that they already have. That's a better option for those kids. I will say that when I look at the state level and look at areas that don't have as much to offer in the public schools, predominantly Memphis is the one that always comes up, I think that then there are going to be times that you're going to have to look at vouchers as a solution in those communities, and I will support Governor Haslam's limited voucher plan for those communities.
The thing about vouchers or opportunity scholarships, anything associated with education that gives parents a choice. It gives parents a choice. It's a free market principle. Those are our dollars. Those are our resources. And so parents should have options. Many parents aren't going to take advantage of those options. Many private schools will then not take a voucher because of what that does and the accountability that's required then by them to the federal government. And so the state and the federal government. And so the thing about vouchers, it just gives the parents a choice. It gives the parents the ability to utilize some of their tax dollars, some of their resources to make a decision they feel might be better for their child. And so I'm always going to support those free market principles, the opportunity for us to utilize our tax dollars and our resources as we best see fit.
I just have to say, though, I think that the voucher debate that's gone on in this community is just a lot of emptiness right now. We haven't done a study to see how many seats are available at private schools where they're ready to accept students on a voucher program. Those numbers aren't readily available right now. We don't have a tremendous amount of private schools ready to do that. We're going to create layers of private school. Many parents choose private school, homeschooling, and they do that for their own personal choices. I want to support that. Our public dollars have to fund public education.
And the good thing about vouchers, if a parent takes the opportunity to utilize a voucher, half of that money still stays with the county. It still stays with that school. So the parent, right now Knox County spends roughly $10,000 on a student. The parent does not get $10,000. Portions of that $10,000 stay with the public school education while some of those resources go with the student. So again, as a taxpayer, as someone who is putting in to the system, it gives you the opportunity to be able to make a choice and to be able to make a decision you feel like is best for your child.
Staying on the topic of education, Jason, you'll look at the first 2 minutes of this topic. It's Common Core. New Common Core standards have elicited a strong response from Tennesseans and our state legislature. Do you support these standards, and what, if anything, do you believe should the federal government's role? What, if anything, do you believe should be the federal government's role in Tennessee education?
Great question. Tennessee students, Knox County students are better than we think. Teachers are better than we think. We have great students and we have great teachers. And we have a great school system. Farragut High School. Farragut School is a great school system. The challenge becomes when the federal government engages in that process. Education decisions must be made on the state and even the local level. Many times Washington feels like that maybe the state can make those decisions, but on the local level, they shouldn't be making those decisions. When I think we know that the local decisions provide the best opportunity of education for our children. My wife taught public school at North City for 5 years. Well, North City schools are very different than Farragut schools. Farragut schools are very different than Granger County schools. And so to have the input and the direction of the local county and the local officials, sometimes even making on the state level is not quite good enough, because so many of our communities have to have a different way to educate our children that best maximizes the way they're able to learn, the way they're able to teach to those particular children. So in terms of Common Core, I think we can all agree Common Core failed. I am for higher standards, but I'm for those standards being promoted on the state and the local level. Federal government has no business in education. A one-size-fits-all is never going to be a fit. It never works. Whether it's No Child Left Behind, whether it's Race to the Top, whether it's Common Core, those are standards coming from the federal level that the states have to reject, and most of those states have rejected those standards.
I think it's interesting when we talk about Common Core, what we have to do is look at history. Years ago, 7 years ago, when Governor Bredesen was in office and we start talking about the Tennessee Diploma Project, the chamber blew the whistle on education. Throughout Tennessee, we were telling people that 90% of our third graders were proficient or above in reading and math based on Tennessee testing. When we compared it to a national test, 31% of our students were proficient. That quick?
That's 30 seconds.
I haven't addressed it yet.
This was 2 minutes.
My part.
Come on, this is mine. At least I'm watching you though. So somebody had to blow the whistle and say, wait a minute, and that was a direct result, I believe, of No Child Left Behind. It was a direct result of the federal involvement, setting a bar and saying funding was going to be tied to this, and of course, everybody set a different bar. I firmly believe that we need Tennessee standards. I supported Common Core when we had to get that ball rolling. Education is progressing, and it's progressing on a trajectory like this. We need to increase that trajectory. We need to work harder to get our kids ready. So one of the things when we supported Common Core, when the talk was to eliminate it, was to get the discussion going. And the process that came out of that was the development of a review group to look and get input from educators, which was so sorely missing, from parents, from community, from business, of the standards that were already proposed. They're now developing Tennessee standards that I think will be the top in the nation, and that's how it should be. I don't think we can allow every local district to set their own standards. They certainly need to set their curriculum. They certainly need to allow teachers to teach. They need to avoid any teaching to the test so our kids can learn. And we need to expect tremendous things from our kids so that they can produce and provide for their families in the future.
And just again, quickly back to the challenge with a Common Core, whether it's education or anything else. Many of these states will expand these programs with the lure of $1. And it really goes back to another topic we talked about earlier, is Medicaid expansion. We're lured by that $1.2 billion that will come back into the state. Well, it's the same thing with Common Core. The lure of the resources provided from the federal government for education, and then it changes the education process. And in Indiana, Kentucky, you've got states that immediately begin to jump out when they hear from their teachers and they talk about the strain that it puts on them and the limit for them to be able to educate effectively.
You have 30 more seconds. Sorry, we're minute rebuttal, not 30
Okay,
seconds.
I'm good. Go ahead.
I'll take his other, no. Just joking. You know what though, we talk about this, and reform has been very tough. Reform always is. One of the greatest hindrances to excellence is when you're good. And we were very good in Knox County, but we had to do more. Our education has changed and we had to do that. I think that what's most important, results talk. Have you watched the news in the last couple of weeks? Did you find that Knox County Schools is the only urban school district that's got exemplary status? That comes from the incredible investment of the teachers in this district to adapt to tremendous change throughout and still find a way to reach their students, still find a way to make sure that kids were getting not only the initial knowledge, but the depth of understanding they need so that when they get out in the world, they can do problem solving. You know, Google makes it so you can get the facts now. You've got all the factoids out there, but you need to know how to use it. Our teachers have adapted their teaching to meet those needs.
Moving on to a different topic.